Hi, today we are going to talk about a subject that a lot of women fear, which is breast cancer. I am a breast cancer survivor, as was my mother and other people in my family. And there's all different types. It's not a one size fits all thing. Um, and excuse me, so. Joining this conversation today is another breast cancer survivor, and that's Dawn McGrath. Say hi, Dawn.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me today. It's
Oh,
wonderful.
it's going to be a great conversation. I can tell already. So Dawn is she's a mother and she's a working mother. She's a marketing director, and she also is a breast cancer survivor as well as an educator about it. I assume that's what you are, right?
That's right.
Educated. Okay. So
Yes.
she also has an organization that she's involved with called Active Registered Pet Partners Animal Therapy. And this is therapy. You do therapy with dogs,
That's
right?
right. Yes. We have two dogs. That's right.
Cool. So let's talk about your journey as a breast cancer survivor and how it shaped your perspective on your life and your work. Let's hear a little bit of your story.
Sure. It went back in December 2023. I had a mammogram and I had never had any problems, and I don't have any breast cancer history in my family. So I just thought it was going to be another routine mammogram, no problem. And the radiologist pulled me aside and said, we just want to take a little bit closer look and do an ultrasound. Would that be all right? And I said, sure, really confident, thinking there was just some kind of an issue with the machine or whatever. But then it turns out they wanted to go a step further and said, we're going to need to take a little biopsy. And that's just a sample of cells and to test and see if there are any like cancer cells there. Sure enough, there were. And I was so surprised. I thought there must be some mistake because, that this has never happened before. So I didn't even mention anything to anyone in my family because I thought this was an error. But carrying that around with me without telling anyone was kind of gnawing at me. Because you're not even, I don't know, it was just, but I just was kind of telling myself, like, very hopeful that it was an error and this was just going to go away. But then in the end, it came out I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And then I had to, of course, tell my husband. And he's an adult, so of course able to understand the situation. But telling my kids was probably the hardest day of my life,
You didn't tell
because
your husband right away either?
I not right away, because I
Oh
really
my.
didn't. Well, I didn't think that
You
it
were in
was true.
denial. You were in
I was in
denial.
denial. That's
Yeah,
absolutely true.
let's say.
Um,
Yeah.
it was, and I was just, carrying this, not telling a soul because I really felt like this isn't true. There's no way this is happening to me.
Right,
So,
right.
and but then when the diagnosis came through, I had to face the facts that yes, this is happening, and and I told my husband. He was very supportive. I'm very blessed to have, a supportive family and friends and a really wonderful community. But it was still difficult and really difficult because I have young children, and so that was scary to have to tell them, by diagnosis. But I did, and I became part of a prayer group, and that was an incredible community of support, a group of women, and I still meet with them once a week to this day, and they have become some of my closest friends. So there is such a strength in that group. It's incredible. So that really gave me a lot of peace and confidence to kind of move forward with that journey and get through the radiology and well, the surgery first and then the radiology and now all these follow-up appointments. I feel like, it never ends. You're constantly being monitored, which I'm grateful that I have the wonderful medical
Yeah.
treatment available to me and all of those things, but it's just that reminder that this happened, And so,
I'm going to stop
um,
you now. This is why.
sure, sure.
Because I think it's important for women listening to know that maybe they're going through this,
Hmm.
how different stories can be. And so we'll continue with your chapter and my chapter, kind of like comparing notes. Um, I actually am, let's see, this is 2025. I have to get what year it is first in my head. So I am 8 years cancer-free in May.
Wonderful. Oh, that's so wonderful
And
to hear.
I too, it was like, oh, it's something they want me to come back, and it's nothing. Some people have they say dense breasts and things like that. And I went back and I too was told I should have a biopsy. And of course, with a history of breast cancer in my family, I did have it. My cousins and my mother, um, that's who I knew of. And when I went for the biopsy, he said, okay, we'll make an appointment for next week. And we came back in and went to the radiologist's office. And my husband, of course, was with me. And we walked in and he had the results up on his computer screen. And we sat down and, I doctors are so interesting personalities. They run the gamut. Like no bedside manner to being sweet and lovely. And he was very direct and he said, it's cancer. No build up, just it's cancer.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was very calm about it. And I just said, okay, so what should I do next? You know, and he said, well, I'm gonna refer you to a breast cancer surgeon, and then she's gonna do further tests to see exactly what kind and what's needed. Okay. And I was very calm. I'm very calm about those things. And if anybody reads my biography, it's called Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. I had already gone through domestic violence and all kinds of things in my life. So, sort of a soldier type mentality. So, okay, what's my next command? And it's my next order. But my husband was very shaken by it.
Oh,
He was. So then we went and I saw the doctor and she sent me for some more tests. And I went back to her office and he went in and she started talking about, she said, oh, we have like this HER2 type of cancer and it's pretty aggressive. And, in the one breast, it's just in the one breast. And I think we could do a lumpectomy, so that's good news, right? It's very good news. And oh, I said, okay. And she said, but you know what? There's this one, I didn't get this one result back. Do you mind waiting a minute in the waiting room? I said, sure. So we go back out. We waited 15 minutes. And she had had me do a type of MRI for breasts where you lay face down on a table. It's so uncomfortable, Dawn. You can't even imagine.
oh no.
Like there's holes, so your boobs are like sticking through this steel panel, and it's so uncomfortable. And she said, I got the results back from that one. And it turns out it's more aggressive than I thought. And it's not just one spot, it's in two.
Oh my gosh.
So she said, we need to do a mastectomy. And
Um,
and I like this is me. I'm very good in crisis. It's little things bother me, but big things I just handle. And that's from my horrible childhood. But anyway, I said to her, well, Doc, you know what? If you're going to do a mastectomy, let's just take both of them.
oh
And
wow.
she said, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So we left, and my husband is like, we're walking out, and he's like, I can't believe you just made that decision and said, let's take both of them. And you didn't even ask me or talk to me. I said, excuse me, this is my body, and I will do what I think is best for my body. I mean, I love him, but it's like none of his business. I too of my body. So he was stunned that I was so quick, but I did that.
Oh,
So I will tell you one last thing and then we'll continue on with your segment. Um my biggest worry, and I think most women will get this. I was worried about losing my hair, like
oh,
having chemotherapy after.
sure. Yeah.
And it turned, and I mean, John, honest to God, did they hook you up with like a breast cancer coordinator nurse? Uh,
Yes.
yes, aren't they wonderful?
It was very helpful, especially with scheduling all the appointments. I mean, just keeping that straight, just, because that's a factor into your life and getting there and all the things. I mean, it's a big deal.
Oh, I loved her. She was so good, and uh, she talked to me right away, and I brought up losing my hair, and she said, "Oh, don't worry about it because there's this whole um, charity foundation, and that's all they do is provide wigs to women that
Mm.
lose their hair." So that put
Yes.
me at ease a little bit about that. But turns out I didn't need chemotherapy.
Oh my gosh. That's
No,
wonderful.
because they did
Oh,
the double, mastectomy and they got it all. They felt like they got it all. And
good.
so I did not, they checked, they took the lymph node and I had to wait while they checked that, of course. And
Hmm.
so yeah. So all that worry about losing my hair, you worry about things and it just doesn't even happen. So now you find out. So now what's your next step? Who do you go to see? What doctor? What kind of doctor? What
Oh,
was
well, okay, so when I found out, I was diagnosed in December, holiday time. So, it's busy and we host Christmas. So it was such a busy time. I had so many other things that I was thinking about. But then also at the time, many of the surgeons were gone on vacation. So I mean,
Mhm.
I do live in a major metropolitan city like Chicago, and so we fortunately have many options, wonderful hospitals here. So I'm really fortunate, but it was a tricky time to try and find somebody, some talented, someone that I would feel comfortable. I mean, there are a lot of talented and educated people, but also it's that connection where they answer your questions to your satisfaction, where there's that comfort where, yes, I want to move forward with this person. So that was the part. And so, but then at the same time, I wanted to have this procedure done immediately. I wanted the cancer out. I didn't want it to grow, all those things.
Mhm.
So I did move pretty quickly. I know everyone's different. I have a friend who was diagnosed and she took a couple months to really, do her research on the surgeon she wanted to use. So everyone's different, but I really wanted to do it right away. And so it was a little challenging because of the time of year, but I did find somebody and I was so happy. He's amazing and did a great job and felt like he took everything out and I had it just radiation. I didn't need chemo. And so I was very grateful for that. And it was just the scheduling and getting all the appointments in. And I have young children and all their activities, and I wanted to be there for them too, so you don't
Yeah.
want to totally change your whole life around because I mean, it kind of makes you feel better when you can still have your life while you're going through this
Mhm.
journey. Kind of makes it a
Yeah.
little bit more normal. You're feeling like I'm still normal while I'm
Did you
going
have
through
a
this.
double mastectomy? Did you the two?
Just one. So
Mhm.
it was caught really early. So I was really lucky, but I
Mhm.
didn't even believe it could happen. So I mean, to everybody, it's really like just don't blow off your mammograms. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
because they're so important. I mean, and just to keep up with them, and then if you are catching it early, then things can be done. The treatments are pretty amazing. I was so impressed with the whole process.
Yeah. You
You
know,
know.
aesthetically, I said take both of them off because to me, I could not conceptualize having one breast. Like I
Oh,
did,
yeah.
that didn't work for me. But I'm very OCD and everything has to be a certain way and everything has to be in its place in my house. So of course, my body, of course, had to be.
Sure.
But and also because they said it was aggressive. So I thought, I might go through it twice. And so that was the other thing that I know women that just had one, but I got the two. And of course, like I said, I didn't need the chemo, which was great. Uh, and the recovery from it would have been a lot easier if I had done some research on the next phase, which is breast reconstruction.
Mm, okay.
I did not do my homework as I should have. And well, let's see, that was, what I say, 8 years ago. So I'm terrible at math. I have to write down on a pen and paper.
The same
So in
way.
76, so 8 from 16. So I was 68. All
Okay.
right. But I look younger than I am. And I just felt like, yeah, I'll get breast reconstruction and Medicare was going to pay for it. And I thought, oh, okay. Oh boy, that was terrible. I was,
Oh,
and that's in my book too, but my body did not like my decision and it rebelled. And it was my left breast, the one the cancer had been in. I developed what's called red breast syndrome.
what's that? I've never heard of
I
that
know,
before.
no, never. I always get these unusual things. That's my last book was The Anatomy of an Alien, and I'm the
Oh my
alien
God.
because I always get the strangest things. So it is a thing, and it happens, and the body rejects. They use a substance from a cow to make the sling for these, um, what would you call them? The reconstruction to hold up the implants. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I guess I'm allergic to cows, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
So I developed red breast syndrome and it stayed bright red, just the one, which was very strange, not the other one. And my plastic surgeon had seen it one time before, and it lasted with this woman for a couple years before it went away. And but all of a sudden now my implants, they didn't settle right. I don't know why, if it was because I was older or whatever. He had to take them out and put different ones in. And then I got an infection. So I ended up having, over the course of 4 years, um, 3 or 4 surgeries
Oh my
because
gosh.
because of the implants. Oh, so
Wow.
finally, I was fed up. My breast was still red, and I was in pain. And I said to him, "Look, take them out. I want to look like a 12-year-old boy." Yeah, I always have a sense of humor no matter what's going on. So he said, "I don't blame you." So I went flat and I stayed that way. And he said it was so remarkable to him in the surgical room that the minute he took out that left implant, all the redness went out of my body.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So it absolutely had to be an extreme allergic reaction to that bovine
Mm,
material that they use, right? And if
yes.
I had done my research, I would have seen some of the things that happen when you get the implants, but I didn't think it was a big deal, but it was for me. So
Sure.
now you had the one, so you didn't have an implant, or did
No, well, I did have a very slight implant, but it was just so that I didn't look like super lopsided. But it wasn't,
you?
I mean, the tumor that I had removed was not that huge. So it, my implant is very small. And I was lucky not to have any kind of reaction because, it is a foreign object put into your body and you never
Exactly.
know. you
Well,
know?
wow, here I am. Now, did you have
See?
a lumpectomy or the whole breast taken?
Just the lumpectomy. That's
Oh,
all.
okay.
But it
Right.
was caught really early. And so
Yeah.
that's why, like I said, just keep up with the mammograms because now I have mammograms every 6 months. But it's great because I just want to know. I'd rather be able to like have that information and make a decision, move forward with it than,
Yeah.
'cause I know people go like 3, 4 years, but and you're just kind of crossing their fingers. So I'd rather know. And
Of
then, something
course.
can be done.
And the
Sure.
earlier the better. And my daughters, when I was diagnosed and they were in their 40s, and I said, look, grandma had breast cancer and your cousin, Jeannie Ann had breast cancer. Now mommy has it. I said, make sure you go every year.
Right.
And they
It's good.
listened, and they're good, knock on wood so far. And but yeah, especially when you have a family history, you know.
Right. Right.
But how did it how did that experience shape your perspective then on how to change it on your life and your work and the things you were doing?
That's a great question because it really does change you. Just like having children changes you.
Hmm.
Um, but some kind of like serious health issue like breast cancer, I didn't realize how it would change me so much, but I really feel like I am, and especially being part of this prayer group, really tied more closely to other human beings. I just feel a closer connection with other people now.
Yeah.
And when we go on now after this, whole journey with breast cancer, I am volunteering with our dogs who are, and they are animal therapy trained animals, and they can go into hospitals and nursing homes and schools and all different places. And when I make these visits, I really feel a deeper connection with people. I have a more genuine conversation. It's not just kind of going through the motions. I just feel like after this journey, I really feel, you know, uh, more of a genuine interest in other people,
Right.
just really
Yes.
wanting to hear their story and talking to
Right.
them and having that connection with the dog. And the dog is kind of the icebreaker to get the conversation started, and then we get going. Because, of course, everyone can talk about a dog, it's like, how old is your dog? What breed? And all these things. And
Exactly.
then we get talking and then we talk about whatever is going on. And it's wonderful. And now my kids are doing it too. They're animal therapy volunteers. We went through the training with them and now they come with me. And it's great for them to meet people at different stages in life, because my parents are very young and healthy. So they haven't really seen anyone dealing with any kind of health issues. And it's great for them to be in a nursing home and see people who are living with like having to use a walker or in a wheelchair or using oxygen, to breathe. And so all the different things that happen in life as you get older. And so they're seeing that and they're becoming more comfortable with it and understanding it and embracing it and talking to people at different ages. And it's great for them. I think it's been a great experience as well. And so that's, part of the connection that I've been having with people, which is kind of different from before breast cancer. So it is different and it does change you. There's no question.
There's no question. Well, having survived a few serious illnesses, I get it. And it's part of the reason in 2020, when we got kind of the world shut down, right? And
Mm,
my husband has Parkinson's also, and he was getting worse. And I didn't feel that either of us should go out because, they didn't know anything in 2020. If they did, they weren't telling you. You didn't even know how you would get it, touch, sneeze, whatever. And so I spent most of 2020 in my home, and I got very depressed. I got very depressed. And I suffer from chronic depression, but it had been under control for many years. But I think the combination of recovering from the breast cancer, my husband having Parkinson's, myself recovering from another serious illness, it stirred that depression up in me, you know. And
Mhm.
I worked with people that had depression and addiction problems when I was in my working years, and I know a lot of the signs. And I saw that I was being very mean to my husband. And that was a sign of depression because it was coming out,
Mhm.
my anger was coming out sideways, you know. So thank God I
Mhm.
knew that and recognized it, and I got help, and I got therapy on Zoom, which that was that's, I'm telling you, that's one good thing that came out of 2020, right?
Right.
We never would meet, let's face
That's
it.
right. Yeah, you're
This
right. That's
this
right.
like picking up the telephone now. And so because of that and getting a therapist, that's how I ended up writing a book. And I had never written a book. And in the last, well, since 2021, I've written 4 books. And I have a
Oh
podcast,
my gosh, that's awesome.
and a YouTube show. It's like,
Congratulations.
what? Like, what happened? But it's something can change you. And it was just the combination of having more than one serious illness in a row, the husband getting something that can be devastating. Parkinson's is a terrible disease. Um, I think even more so for men, because a lot of men see themselves as, the strong one. I can lift that case of
Mhm.
water, she can't, that kind of thing. And
Right,
all of
right.
a sudden, he can't lift that case of water. But going through
Mhm.
all of that and writing the book and then starting this, I could not believe the emergence of uh, a feeling of having a mission and a purpose in life. And
That's
you,
great.
you actually started with doing the dog therapy, which maybe you would not have done.
Right. I know. And also having it in with my children too,
Mm.
like really feeling such a passion and then seeing me so happy doing it. And I think that got them interested. And
Yeah.
we had the time over this summer when they were out of school to really get involved. And they really feel sometimes they'll visit camps with younger children and they feel like they're the big kids and it's really a happy place for everyone to experience. So it's really great. It's been, rewarding for everyone.
So you were able, to balance the role of mother with surviving breast cancer by involving them in that volunteer activity, which brought you closer to
Sure.
your
Right.
children, I'm sure. So I tell people, I know things seem bad sometimes, but nothing is forever, even bad things. I had 2 abusive husbands before I married my
Oh,
saint to the husband. We're together 37 years, so
oh, that's
my
wonderful.
listeners get tired of hearing that that means it was them, not me. But 37 years, it mustn't have been me. I wasn't the problem. Maybe a little, maybe a little. But and we went through a lot too with recovering from alcoholism and all kinds of stuff. But we just grow stronger and we're there for each other. And
Wonderful.
how's your husband in all of this, in your story? Are
Well,
you
I've been
married?
so blessed. He's very supportive.
Okay, good.
Yes, I'm married and yes. And so he's very supportive and has been through this whole journey and with the animal therapy too. So even he has a pretty demanding position at work. And so he's not able to volunteer like myself with the kids. So I mean if he was retired, he would be right there with us, but he can't. It just doesn't have the time. So but he's supportive in his own way. And so it's really been wonderful. And he loves our dogs. He walks them every morning before he goes off to the office. And so, it's just, they're part of our family. And, we're just sharing them with other people who maybe can't have a dog for whatever reason.
How many
So
dogs do you have?
we only have two, which is plenty. And it's a lot of work having an animal at home, you
Honey,
know?
my oldest daughter has three dogs,
Oh my goodness.
and the best is one is a Great Dane,
Oh,
and one is a
beautiful.
Dalmatian, and one is a mongrel. You know,
Oh,
I'm 57.
goodness.
And, my husband has mobility problems, and they're in Pennsylvania, we're in Florida, and she'll say, Mommy, you could stay with us. I'm like, with those three dogs, I don't think so. Running around the house. I mean, no. And my other daughters have dogs too. I mean, and I was cat person, so go figure. I don't understand it, but
But
treat.
cats are therapeutic too. I know
Yes.
people who go in for cat therapy and it's wonderful. So it doesn't matter. You could be a guinea pig, it could be a
Yeah.
hamster. So
Yeah.
honestly, it's
A
wonderful. Just to
blessing.
have the animal bond with the human, it's really powerful.
Yeah, and the thing about animals, um, this is years ago. Uh, we had a bar. We owned a bar, my husband and I, and we took in a dog. We adopted a dog that people couldn't take care of her anymore. She was a miniature Irish setter, beautiful dog, Mariah. And when she died, uh, my niece had a cat that had a litter of kittens, and my husband was a dog person his whole life. And I was visiting, and I said, "Oh, I love this one. This one." It was like Garfield, that red cat.
Yes, yes.
And he had six toes. And I said, "I want that." And he's like, "Absolutely not. You're not getting that cat." Mm-mm-mm. And I went, "Yeah, I am." So I took him home. I named him the Muffin Man. This is many years ago. And I was allergic.
Oh no.
But I kept him. And every time I would go to the ENT doctor, and he'd give me my nasal sprays and my allergy medicines, say, I would know you won't do it, but if you got rid of the cat, everything would clear up. And I'm going, no, I'm not getting rid of Muffin. No. My husband, who hated cats, he tells the story to this day. He threw a ball, and my cat went, and usually they go and then they play with the ball. No, Muffin went, got the ball, and brought it back to him
Oh my goodness.
like a dog, right?
I love it.
And
Oh.
yeah, and my husband was like, what? So he throws it again. And Muffin got it and brought him back. He started playing catch with him. That was it. He won him over. I think he loved him more than me after that. And we kept him, and we moved to Florida. We retired. And that cat lived to be 18 years old, which is a
Oh.
nice age for a cat. And he got to retire in Florida and chase lizards. But
Oh,
I love that story just because animals, the bonding they can have with a
sure.
person, and they're
Hmm.
so smart. It's like, this guy doesn't like me, so I'm going to make him like me.
That's right.
It was so funny. We tell
That's
that story.
beautiful.
So now,
Oh,
yeah. So you're in marketing. That's your
that's right.
passion. And
Yes,
what kind of
I
marketing?
work for the family business with my husband, and the beauty of technology is I'm able to do the marketing from home on a laptop, and it's great. So, and still be there for my kids, all the volunteering I do with their school too. So, and stay on top of what's happening there. It's really wonderful. I wouldn't be able to do that without the technology we have now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just incredible.
Yeah. And again, you need to see the good and bad and everything because with the internet and Zoom and everything, things really exploded in industry, in communications, in every area of life. And yes, there's a lot of downside to it. I mean, let's face it, they're talking about the young kids being on it much too much. But before that, the kids had their PlayStations or their video games and they were on that too much. And before that, it was the television. So for me, it's up to the parents. You're in charge, not the internet. Like you're the one that says, 1 hour a day or whatever, you know.
Right. And there
Right.
are pearl controls that parents can use, and I use them. It makes a difference. It really does.
Really does. But I think the good outweighs the bad. I really do. I talk to people with this podcast show and the YouTube show. I've talked to people from all over the world about different subjects, but I love
Mhm.
it because I'm a people person. I'm a people person. So I love this. And with the Parkinson's, sometimes in the later stages, the communication gets bad. Like
Oh,
they don't talk as much. And it
mhm.
takes longer for them to form a thought, decide what they're going to say, and get it out of their mouth.
Oh.
And then what happens is they just don't even try, which is not a good thing. And I'm a pusher. I nag. Like I tell him, no, I'm not letting you do that, because if you stop talking to people, I did my research. There's a real chance of you getting dementia,
Mhm.
So I make him answer me sometimes. Like I'll say something and he won't answer me, and I'll get right in his face, you know, like I'm his coach. He
Good for
sometimes
you.
sees me as a pain in the butt, but
Uh,
I'm gonna make him be as functional as he can for as long as he can. That's my job right now. So, marketing, and you're a marketing director of your own company.
yes, it's our
No?
family business. Yes, so it's great.
Do you have people working for you? Do you have employees?
We do, yeah. And a
Oh,
lot of our meetings are through Zoom, sometimes in the office, but mostly it's done electronically, through Zoom, and it's great.
yeah.
And it's really efficient. So it's helpful, but you are communicating with a lot of people. But
Yeah.
it's just you don't have to take a flight, it's just right
Oh,
there and you do it immediately.
yeah. It's amazing. It's just the best
Mhm.
thing. So, let me ask you this, the involvement with the pets, and
Yeah.
you're actually a registered animal therapy handler, correct?
Yes, we had to go through training, myself and the kids, and the dogs. So I mean, it was all of us being evaluated, and there was a testing process. We had to go, so it was great, and I really do like that they have those parameters that we need to go through, and they're also watching, the temperament of the animal to see if how they would be able to handle being in certain situations, because if they are in a hospital and a pill drops that you have to be able to command the dog like no, or drop it, or you know what I mean, so because that could be dangerous. So there are so many different situations, but they really do want to make sure it's a safe environment for everyone, the people and the animals.
I have personal experience with this because our youngest daughter was a Marine. She was in the Marines
Mm.
for 10 years, which blew my mind when she picked the Marines. I'm like, do you have to win the Marines? Can't you win like the Navy or something? But she wanted the Marines, and she was a staff sergeant, and she did well. And then she got a job with the VA, counseling. She got her degree in counseling, and she counsels addiction and PTSD
Hmm.
veterans.
Hmm.
But she has her own stuff, of course, and she got a support dog. A
Good
support
for
dog.
her.
Yes.
Sure.
And that helps a lot with her anxiety. And I know she had to go through a lot. Like they didn't just give her the dog, you know,
Hmm.
they had
Right.
to go through their training. And then it was like they had a hotel visit, couldn't go to her home yet. They had to stay in a hotel. I mean, it was rigorous. And she went through it all.
Hmm.
And I laughed. I mean, he's lovely. His name is Bondi. And we break the rules all the time. Like we're not supposed to really pet him, or we do, but he listens. And when she says Bondi, back, he
Hmm.
listens. You know, but
Hmm.
so we have a lot in common. We really do,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Honest to
Well,
God.
and it's interesting you mentioned that about the vets because that's on our list as far as places to visit. And so, like a VA hospital, and
Yes.
there is such a demand. It's incredible the demand. And that's part of my whole like raising awareness for animal therapy and really kind of recruiting volunteers to continue this forward because that's really what these organizations thrive on is the volunteers, and the support from organizations, and also writing legislators for bills to support this kind of program. So we're moving it on as much as we can, but my kids are actually interested in VA and helping people who are suffering from PTSD. And my son in particular, he loves reading history, everything to do with history. So that was an interest of his. And so I thought, well, that's right. We're going to look into places where we can go and with the dogs and to help people. So yeah, there's a definite demand. I
And
mean, all over.
how do you engage like your community in supporting this program?
Well, we had a fundraiser and it was okay. So our family, we play pickleball
Oh,
and that's our
another new
activity.
thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's another fun thing. So we held an event, a pickleball event, and we raised funds for animal awareness, animal therapy awareness, and we raised over $1,000, my kids, and it was great for them to do this. And they were hosting this event, and all of their friends came and really raising awareness so that maybe they will become volunteers themselves, with their pets and come out into the community and share the love their pets can bring to other people.
What do you think the biggest challenge with the breast cancer? What do you think the biggest challenge in your journey was with that?
Well, just the denial because I really did not believe it. I mean, I was kind of
Yeah,
like going through life thinking this is the mistake. There's no way this could be. But then I did have to quickly face, the facts that were right in front of me, and just going through that, it was almost surreal, because you just don't believe this is going on. It's like, no way. And so as I'm going through it, just really just going through the appointments and the prayer group really helped to have that support. I didn't realize I wasn't raised in a family like full of prayer.
right.
We really weren't that family,
Mhm.
but having this kind of and strong group of women who were so supportive and very prayerful, that really kind of changed my outlook on a lot of things as well. And so now I'm able to deal with some of these awful things that happen in life a little better and be more supportive to other people who maybe had a death in their family. In fact, I was just at a wake yesterday for a dear friend of mine who lost her mother. And so I think I am more supportive now because of the fact that I was in that prayer group. And while her mother was struggling, I told her, I have my prayer group praying for you and your family and the doctors who are caring for your mother, and that's something that I would not have done before. It's just different.
Yeah.
So it changes your whole life, and the way you deal with things.
See, another similarity. That's another reason I love your show because I don't care who I talk to. They could be in Portugal, Brazil, whatever, and we find all these similarities. But I am in a prayer group, support group, and I belong to a church that doesn't like to call itself a church. It's a spiritual community because we
Okay.
welcome any religion. You could be Muslim, atheist, Protestant, Jewish, we don't care because
Sure.
we don't uh, think that the theology part of it is the important part. We think the being a loving, kind human being is what we want our message to be. So on Thursdays,
Mhm.
we have our prayer support group on Zoom, you know, and our minister will pray us in, and then he will ask if anybody has anything they're dealing with, where they would like support.
That's
And
great.
it is. And I have something all the time. I have something. So so I make myself wait. I wait. And if I wait long enough till somebody else puts their hand up. And then if nobody's putting their hand up, up it goes. And he takes whatever the situation is and he speaks on that and adversity and how to handle things and look at life. And it's wonderful. And then at the end, we have like maybe a 5 minute meditation, you know, and it's just
Great.
the
That's so
highlight.
helpful.
It is very helpful and it centers me for the whole week. So we have that in common too. There you go,
Mhm.
Dawn.
Yes,
We would be best friends if I lived near you. So,
that's right.
so let's say if you had to give some others who are juggling like multiple roles and responsibilities, and then they get hit with a major health challenge, like what kind of advice can you give them?
Well, I would say definitely reach out to someone. It's so stressful to carry that weight all on your own. I mean, I did that for a very short time because I was in such denial and it was a strain. And the minute I was able to share with my husband and my children and my prayer group and my friends and family, it was such a relief. So if you have a burden or health issue, I mean, if you at least have one person that you can reach out to, and even if it is through Zoom or, whichever way, because people might live in a remote area, but if there's some way they can reach out to other people and connect and have a conversation, and prayer is even more powerful, it's a deeper connection, but um so it doesn't have to be prayer because I know some people maybe that's not for them, but at least connecting with another person, at least one person, I think that would be such a relief. And when you mentioned meditation, that's very helpful, especially when you're having troubles like sleeping at night, when you have
Mhm.
something that's heavy on your mind. That has been helpful too. I mean, sometimes I even just take a nice hot bath and I have this wonderful lavender scented, I mean, just anything like that, it just kind of
Self-care.
calms you.
Yes, self-care, which is one of the things I had to have drilled into my head, being a caretaker, so it's like I
Oh,
saw
sure.
that I got cameras in every room because he falls a lot. So
Oh,
this way with the cameras, I can go for a facial or get my nails done and not feel stressed out because and
sure.
I'll call him. But if for some reason he didn't answer, I could go right to my phone and look at one of the cameras and see if
That's
he's.
smart. Yes.
I'm learning. I'm learning more and more every day and asking for help more and more every day because it doesn't mean I'm weak.
Right. That's
It
right.
just means that, and in fact, the family, once they get involved, are glad that they're involved because sometimes they don't realize how bad it is. And
Sure.
then they're like, oh no, yeah, I want to be there. This has been great. Our time went by really fast. I hope you
Yes.
enjoyed talking
Yes. I could
with
talk to you all day. Yes. It's so nice.
I get that a lot, which is why I do this. This is my therapy. So, everyone listening, though, I think you learned a lot just about taking care of yourself, taking care of others, all the many things in which you can help people and your community. And I really thank you again, Dawn, for
Thank you.
coming and being part of our show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This was wonderful. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks. And keep enjoying your pet.